Let's go to Paul Verkammen in Los Angeles, where I'm understanding the situation is heating up there. Paul, what is happening?
Hang on one second.
Hey, Paul, I'm not sure if you can hear me. You are live right now. You are live right now, Paul. If you can hear me, it's Ana Cabrera, New York. Tell us what's going on where you are.
Standoff here on 3rd Street in Los Angeles. The police have blocked off an intersection. They have shot rubber bullets. We're seeing some event organizers encouraging the crowd to calm down, and you can hear this chant. It's hands up, don't shoot.
They started shooting the rubber bullets at us first. We've been standing here this entire time. It's been very peaceful. And then we got to a certain point, for whatever reason, they haven't gave us a reason. They told us they wanted us to stop.
And there are people. Excessive force. It's not necessary.
They shot rubber bullets at us, and for what? Nothing's been thrown. We haven't been violent. We've been peacefully very talented. And everybody that's got on top of the bus, nobody got hurt. But now all of a sudden you have people that start to get violent, which is the cops. And then what are we supposed to do? You sit there, you shoot rubber bullets, you shoot tear gas into a peaceful crowd, which you can all see right now, and then how am I supposed to react? You're supposed to just react and lay down and sit down? Look how everybody's sitting down, because they're scared. Everybody's scared. And in a time like this, you're supposed to band together, which we've been trying to do, but you have cops like this that can't even step up and say themselves. Look, they can't say themselves.
All right, sorry to interrupt you. We just heard the fire of rubber bullets again here. Again, this is the Fairfax district in Los Angeles. To set the scene, earlier they'd shut down the intersection of Fairfax and 3rd. They came down the street here toward the beach and set up in this intersection. LAPD blocked their progress, and this is where this standoff has occurred. And now you can hear the crowd shouting, "George Floyd, George Floyd." We should note that the protest organizers said that as far as they were concerned, the demonstration was over and go in whatever direction you should choose. Well, they came down this way, and we'll show you these police officers here are surrounded by protesters. Chris, show them way down the street over there. There's another group of demonstrators who are there. So they've sealed off this part of 3rd Street in 2 directions, and we now have a standoff as people are trying to get through the intersection and join up with the other protesters, it seems. But from time to time, we've seen officers here fire off rubber bullets. And Ana, I warn you, I can't hear you very well because it's contentious and loud.
Understandable.
So excuse me,
I understand.
Chris, come on over here. We got
Paul,
some shoving going on.
Now,
cops have swung a baton, and it's getting crazy. We're seeing bottles being thrown, and they're trying to back up the protesters. There goes more rubber bullets and more bottles. Now someone has kicked in the hood of this police vehicle to my right. We'll show you that in a second. Again, this was what started as a very peaceful protest in the park, came down 3rd Street, and that's where we've had this confrontation between the LAPD and people protesting the death of George. We're going to slide over here along police lines.
Paul, while you're walking, if
you
can hear me, can you hear me okay, Paul? I don't think Paul Verkammen can hear me, but he is moving. We are looking at these live images right now. Again, this is on the street in Los Angeles where protesters and police are coming face to face. As Paul Verkammen was just reporting, there have been rubber bullets fired. There have been water bottles, as we saw in some of these images.
Again, you can hear the sound of rubber bullets being fired. We should also note there was a city bus driver who was in a sense trapped inside his bus. They got him out, the crowd cheered, and now we're seeing random acts of violence. If you look over here, Chris, to my right, you can see someone trying to hack out the police car's windows with a skateboard, using his skateboard wheels. And so the violence has erupted here on 3rd Street. And we've got people who are pushing and shoving with police officers. And again, that telltale sound of rubber bullets being fired by LA police officers in this area. This is not very far from the Grove Shopping Center in Los Angeles. It's considered more of an upscale neighborhood. But now we're seeing the police cars being vandalized. Someone just jumped up and tried to kick in the windows.
Paul, can you hear what they are yelling? It's hard for us to understand and hear what the protesters are saying.
Multiple cars now are being vandalized. Anna, if you could say that again, please, I'd appreciate it.
A couple of questions, if you can hear me. One is, what are the protesters saying? We hear protesters yelling, but we can't hear what they're saying. What are they saying to police?
Okay.
And then also, the cars being vandalized, are those all police vehicles or not?
They're all police vehicles. They're being hit with a batch of graffiti, and their windows are being kicked in and knocked in. The protesters started with Black Lives Matter and were chanting George Floyd. And then when they got sealed off on this part of 3rd Street, things became tense. Officers sort of formed a box at this particular spot, and some of the protesters tried to push past them, and that's when it turned violent. Many of the protesters are yelling that this started peaceful, but we can tell you that people did start throwing water bottles and other bottles, and you can't pinpoint a moment when this turned much more confrontational and violent. Now, we should say we have not seen any officers attacked. We've seen their vehicles vandalized, and we've seen people shove them, but I've not seen any full-on punches thrown here. The police, of course, responding with rubber bullets. And we're going to go ahead and show you. So there's this standoff right here, and then, Chris, come on down. If you look over that way, there's another standoff with protesters. All of these people had started earlier in Pan Pacific Park. Very difficult to estimate the size of the crowd, but needless to say, thousands. And there goes another round of rubber bullets at the corner of Edinburgh and 3rd here in Los Angeles. We're going to come back this way and show you what's been going on. People are standing on police vehicles, and you can clearly see they're trying to kick in the windows of police vehicles as they get on top of them, and those cars now are littered with graffiti.
Paul, have
you asked what they were saying. There have been some chants of expletive the police. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Anna.
Paul, have you seen any arrests being made? How are police, besides what we are seeing in these images, how are they handling it?
We have not seen any arrests yet. However, talk about being from the inside and looking out. Sometimes, as you know from your years as reporting, you're so in the middle of the crowd, you don't really see who might have been let out. So if somebody was arrested, no, I have not seen that, but that is a huge yet, because it's very, very difficult to get that 20,000-foot view when you're on the sidewalk and you're watching the conversation between protesters and the police. As you can see, she's holding up a sign right here that says, "No justice, no peace." And they're talking to LAPD right now. Again, this intersection, this traffic section, completely blocked off in this part of Los Angeles. And for just a moment here, we're not hearing the firing of rubber bullets. So perhaps this has calmed down just a little bit, Anna.
Well, that certainly is our hope as well. We're going to take a quick break here. Paul Verkammen, please stay safe as you continue to cover these protests live on the streets of Los Angeles for us. And we have pictures that we are continuing to also monitor around the country right now. You can see live pictures there on the left side of your screen in San Francisco, and also pictures on the right side there in Baltimore, provided by our affiliate WBFF. We are seeing in some cases vandalism and violence and police firing back with tear gas as well as rubber bullets. We are continuing to cover coast to coast the protests taking to the streets. Again, initially, this is all about the death of George Floyd at the hands of a police officer, 4 police officers, one of whom has been arrested now and charged with murder. Stay with us.